Hi you guys, welcome to the show. I'm so happy that you're choosing to spend some time with us today. Today's topic originated from a video I was watching on TikTok. And if you guys aren't following us on TikTok, we are at The Real Life Hack. That is The Real, LIFEHAC. I would love for you guys to come over and check out what we're doing over there. So I saw this question posed on a video that I was watching on TikTok, and this young lady was speaking about how all her life she'd been told to just think positive, think about good thoughts, think the bad away, like all the things that we hear in toxic positivity culture, where we really do relegate the responsibility of happiness and freedom and all the things that go with being happy and joy and contentment. We relegate that to the person who's actually suffering and being impacted upon within society. When we're in toxic positivity, we ignore that there are societal things and systems and issues and needs that are not being taken care of, thus preventing a person from actually realizing that happiness. Now that I've said that disclaimer, I want to go into some actual methods that may work if you find that your pain or your trauma or your lived experience is just a little bit more than you can handle, or it's too much for you to think it away. It's too real, it's too present, it's too soon. You just cannot forget what happened. There are some tried and true methodologies out there now, and actually some more experimental things that are happening that can really affect how you feel about that trauma and can really affect how you proceed with the rest of your life. Because remember, trauma is not supposed to take over what you're doing in life. It's supposed to happen to you. You're supposed to process it, and hopefully, theoretically, you can move through it, learn from it, and move on. As a veteran with PTSD, a lot of these treatments have been experimented on veterans and those who have experienced PTSD from wars and from being in the military. And so that's where my framework will come from. That's the research that I am pulling from, because it has been said within the clinical area that if you can really affect PTSD in patients who have PTSD, then more than likely you can use that treatment modality. It'll be effective in a different type of trauma-based mental health or trauma-based issue that a person may be experiencing. So that's where I'm pulling this from. If this does not apply to you, or you don't think that this applies to your general area, then feel free to continue with regular talk therapy. Again, I think everybody needs a therapist at some point in their life, because shit happens. First thing that we're going to talk about is prolonged exposure therapy. With prolonged exposure therapy, it's kind of the antithesis of what people with PTSD naturally and normally do. So normally when you have PTSD or you have any kind of trauma that you are reliving in your brain, you try to avoid those painful memories, the objects, situations that remind you of that past trauma. Prolonged exposure therapy, on the other hand, is the opposite of that, because it intentionally places you in a position where you have to explore your traumatic experience. And so that typically requires 8 to 15 weekly sessions that last about 60 to 90 minutes per session. And within prolonged exposure therapy, you're also learning breathing, relaxation techniques, and things that can help you ease the feelings of fear and apprehension that you have surrounding that traumatic event. There are also coping mechanisms that'll help you explore the trauma in a controlled and safe environment. And you're also going to learn how to anticipate and proactively handle whenever you have any kind of flare-ups or PTSD areas that flare up with this direct approach in therapy. Again, you are not to do this on your own. Let me say this out loud. Do not do this on your own. This is not something that I'm asking you or advocating that you do this by yourself and that you're just going to research it and look it up on Dr. Google and you're now going to embark on it. I'm trying to be informative and trying to give you alternative ways for you to actually heal yourself and get over your trauma. Okay, so the second therapy that I want you to kind of look into, if you think you need it or if regular therapy sessions, talk sessions are not working for you, it's called EMDR, or eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. All right, so what EMDR therapy is, it's not necessarily you talking with your therapist too much in a traditional way that you think about. You're sitting on the sofa and you're pouring your heart out to them. That's not really what you're doing here, but you're still going to focus on the specifics of your past trauma. But during the EMDR sessions, you're going to recall your experience, while your therapist will perform some mechanical action like flashing a light, moving the hands, or creating a sound. And the goal of this type of therapy is to reprocess how you think about your experience so it can become less painful and more doable. EMDR therapy is typically going to require 3 months of weekly 60 to 90 minute sessions, so you need to know that going into it. This is not a short-term thing. This is something that is going to specifically help you reprogram how you're thinking about that trauma. The third one that I want you to think about is SIT, stress inoculation training. And with this particular cognitive behavioral therapy, it involves 3 months of weekly sessions. They're generally ranging from 60 to 90 minutes each, and it can be individual or group therapy, and there's no pressure for you to actually delve into the details of your trauma unless you want to. This therapy focuses on breathing techniques, meditation, and other methods for combating negative thought patterns that might be associated with your trauma or any kind of anxiety disorders. The SIT therapy can generally be used in combination with medication. All of these can. Now, the fourth technique that we're going to talk about is the EFT method, or the emotional freedom technique, also known as tapping. You may have heard about this. This is kind of becoming a new buzzword because a lot of stars are talking about their mental health and talking about what has worked for them. So this may be something that you might be familiar with, but the way that tapping works is that the basic technique is for you to focus on the negative emotion at hand, a fear or an anxiety, maybe a memory, unresolved problem, anything that's kind of bothering you. And then while maintaining your focus on that issue, you're going to use your fingertips to tap 5 to 7 times on each of the 9 of the body meridian points. According to this theory, tapping on those meridian points while concentrating on accepting and resolving the negative emotion is supposed to access your body's energy, restoring it to a balanced state. You can get more information on tapping. There are several foundations that are out now about tapping, and they actually teach you how to do this one on yourself. So you might not need a therapist for this one. I just will caution you that if you are unpacking really deep, really traumatic events and you're really trying to get over those things, you really want to do that with the help of a licensed mental health professional. I hope these help. I hope that we can find a way that we can really start to release this trauma and the bondage that we've been under due to the things that have happened to us and the things that we have survived from. I also want you to know that you are not your trauma. You are not only a person who survived trauma. You are not only a victim. You are a survivor. You are a person who is meant to be here. You are living. You are whole. You are healthy. Now it's about us getting complete and total wellness. I love you. I will talk to you later. You guys have a great one. Hi, you guys. Welcome to